Good morning, everyone. This is Stretford Paddock. I am Casey, and this is your news outside Old Trafford. Very cold here. Sagaman is shivering behind the camera, so we're just going to get through this quickly. We're going to get all your news done, and then maybe go back, have a hot drink, have a chill. So let's just start by talking about some of the matches last night, and that starts with United's under-23s losing to Morecambe 4-0. Obviously, a couple of players were playing in that. Facundo Perestri was playing in that game. Obviously, he's been slowly blooded into the first team or the senior squad. And it was one of the first times you've kind of seen the under-23s rolled over in that competition. And yeah, I think we saw it coming that eventually that sort of experience, that man against boys sort of scenario would have happened. But yeah, last night, 4-0 thrashing. Hopefully, they'll bounce back with the next game. And then we move on to internationals. You've heard my opinions on internationals. I don't think they should be happening. All the injuries and all the COVID-19 scares that you have seen throughout the week regarding internationals have kind of backed up that opinion, with people having to miss games because they've tested positive, people getting injured, that sort of thing. People testing positive, they're not testing positive, they're not being allowed into countries, and then being allowed into countries, which was the situation with Alex Telles. But luckily now it seems like that is all cleared up and he'll be able to play at weekend. Dan James had a great game for Wales yesterday. He scored and assisted, and the goal was an absolute peach. It was an absolute strike and a half from outside the box, and it was a great goal. Hopefully he's able to bring that sort of form back when he comes back to United, because we've not seen it as late. Obviously, there's a whole joke going around that he hasn't scored since August, and in the Premier League, that is, he's scored in other competitions. So hopefully he's able to come back into the squad and make an impact. Maybe off the bench, maybe starting. We don't know what the lineup's going to be going forward. And also, Edison Cavani, something you don't see very often as a striker, got a red card for tackling another striker. What situation arose that those two were in the same area as each other, but he got a red card for a tackle on Richarlison, getting his rest in. He was like, I'm done with this. I agree with Casey Evans on Stretford Paddock. Internationals are not worth it. Went and just kicked a striker. Nah. But Richarlison has come out and he said, I don't think he meant it. It was just sort of one of those challenges where you go for the ball, you end up getting the man. So he got a red card for Uruguay. But of course, rival fans are like, ha ha ha, your striker got pocketed by Thiago Silva and then got sent off. And to that is, I don't care, he's not playing for United. So moving on to your transfer news, and that is Diallo Upamecano. Some news came out yesterday from Christian Falk, and he said that January may be the time for Diallo Upamecano. Apparently his 45 million release clause, and that is in euros, 42 million in pounds, activates next summer, but clubs might start moving as early as January to secure his signature, and that seems to be the case. The fact is, he is the most highly rated centre-back prospect in Europe. You'd expect it with everyone being interested in him. Apparently there's quite a few Premier League clubs. He reported last week that United were one of the ones that were interested, and he believes that most importantly, Upamecano at the moment is too expensive for Bayern to consider, which may be why United might be clever about trying to secure his services in January. Because, as you've seen in Germany recently, there's been a growing trend of the smaller German clubs act as a feeder for Bayern. Every good player in the German league goes to Bayern eventually, in that sort of sense, and then maybe works, maybe gets spat out back into the system. But hopefully, United put in a bid, it's accepted. Maybe they'll put in the 42 million and try and get him in summer. Maybe they'll put in a bit extra and say, please can we have him now, we need a centre-back. We never know what will happen there. But speaking about January, and it is just around the corner, we've only got maybe like 6 weeks now. Christmas, New Year, transfer window, in that order. Now, moving on, Manchester United are continuing to work on securing a work permit for Amad Diallo ahead of his arrival in January. This is according to the MEN. Apparently, we have signed him for a fee of 37 million in total. It's apparently 19 million up front, and we're working on a work permit now. We made the move to sign him early because apparently there is a feeling that there will be new legislation put in place regarding to 18 to 21-year-old players after Brexit fully goes through and that sort of thing, which has kind of been put on the back burner, I'd say, obviously with coronavirus and all that sort of situation. Brexit's not really been mentioned and how that'll have an effect on football, so I think going forward in the next few months we'll probably see what that sort of layout is like. Maybe we might see some new nationality laws, we might have to see some new work permit laws. We don't know about that, what'll happen with Brexit, but United are still working to secure a work permit for Diallo, and apparently, according to the MEN, everyone who's put a scout report on in Diallo says he is top 1, top 2, top 3 players in his position in terms of moving into a first-team talent. In sort of every single situation, they said he's one of the best. So hopefully we're getting a great player in January, and that might solve the issues that we have at right wing, which is something we've been seeing for a while. I've seen people asking on Twitter about what is our best midfield shape, and I don't think you see our best midfield shape until we have a right winger, because the thing is with 4-2-3-1 is it only works when you have a right winger. And we haven't had a right winger. You can say, oh, you see Donny van der Beek playing out there, we could see him playing out there, we see Mata playing out there, we could push Fernandes out there. But then we're going to get the constant situation that we've had in the past where those sort of players prefer to be in the middle, so do not stay out wide, and then that just leaves a situation where Wan-Bissaka has to cover that entire wing, and we know what Wan-Bissaka is like going forward. Even if he is improving, he's not the best. So we have to see a proper right winger coming in. Will that be Amad Diallo Traore, or will that be, perfect segue, moving into my next story, and that is Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho seemed to have went underground as a story for a while, and maybe some United fans were relieved. Maybe they're happy that finally we're not talking about Jadon Sancho anymore. As I just said, there is a transfer window around the corner, and what is going to drive the media, what is going to drive him forward, and that is Jadon Sancho. Now, according to Jan Ajforshoff, I have absolutely butchered that name, and I'm not going to try and attempt it again because I think I'll do it worse. On the Here We Go podcast with Fabrizio Romano, said that 4 bids were made for Jadon Sancho in summer, and he believes there are going to be more come January. And that is in line with some of the less reputable papers. Obviously, we heard Telefichaches from Spain saying that United want to make a bid for Sancho. Sancho wants the move. He's kind of had a speak with Dortmund to make them try and accept the bid. And again, in January, he'll have even less time on his contract. Obviously, they said they had another year added on, but that keeps shortening. And again, Dortmund will have to sell at some point. Whether to United or someone else, we don't know. But maybe United think in January we have a chance to get Jadon Sancho, especially if Borussia Dortmund do not push forward in the league or in Europe. So basically, United are hopefully going to be in the market for a new centre-back, right winger, and we're going to have a new right winger coming in anyway. So that's going to be really interesting, and we're going to have all of the news here coming up to the January transfer window and during the transfer window on Stretford Paddock. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure, just like the video. Subscribe if you're not. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I'm just plugging everything here now. And make sure you tune in tomorrow because we're going to have even more news. And again, I've been Casey. This has been Stretford Paddock. See you next time.